Hello Cowboys Nation. Here's another round of Dallas Cowboys news. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it for not team. Cowboys news, Tyron Smith ruled out against Dolphins with back injury, Chuma Edoga to start. The Dallas Cowboys won't be able to count on left tackle Tyron Smith in Week 16 against the Miami Dolphins due to a back injury. Smith was initially listed as doubtful before being demoted on Saturday. Chuma Edoga will start in Smith's place in the clash and will make his sixth start of the season. Smith suffered a back injury in the Cowboys' Week 15 clash against the Buffalo Bills. He didn't practice this week because of the injury and was joined by guard Zach Martin, who suffered a hip injury during the Bills game. Martin is supposedly ahead of Smith in injury recovery, but is currently listed as questionable. Smith is an 8-time Pro Bowler and has made 11 starts this season. His absence could be noteworthy for a Cowboys team looking to bounce back after losing 31-10 to the Bills last week. Dallas is 10-4 and currently in first place in the NFC East after securing a playoff spot last week. Cowboys scouting report, breaking down the Dolphins' defensive scheme. In many ways, Mike McCarthy's second season in Dallas was his first real season, as the 2020 season had a limited offseason due to the pandemic, losing Dak Prescott that year and a number of other injuries throughout the season. But in 2021, McCarthy's Cowboys were exactly as some expected when he was hired. After narrowly losing to the defending Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, the Cowboys won 6 in a row, including an away win over the Vikings, with Cooper Rush making his first career start. The offense, in particular, was on fire and looked unstoppable. Then came a home date with the 4-4 Broncos, a team that had just traded superstar Von Miller and looked ready to move on from third-year coach Vic Fangio. The game turned into a big loss for the Cowboys. They were shut out in the first 3 quarters, eventually scoring in the fourth quarter, when the Broncos' defense was clearly no longer playing aggressively, to slightly improve the final score to 30-16. Still, it was an embarrassing defeat for Dallas, who went into the game as 10-point favorites and lost by 2 touchdowns. As the talking point quickly became whether Fangio had just come up with a plan to beat the Cowboys' powerful attack, McCarthy more or less laughed off the suggestion. It's certainly a copycat league, because Fangio's style of defense has taken the league by storm. There are 14 teams in the league currently operating some iteration of the 2-deep safety scheme with which Fangio enjoyed decades of success, while even more teams have incorporated elements of the scheme into their own defense in one form or another. In fact, the Cowboys have faced 10 such teams this year alone, including 6 games: Cardinals, Chargers, Rams, Eagles x2, Panthers, against defenses coordinated by coaches who have direct links to Fangio in their coaching tree. To say that the Cowboys have seen this defense more often would be an understatement. If Fangio took the Cowboys by surprise in 2021, that won't be the case this week as he tries to defend an offense now run by McCarthy himself. As for the scheme, it's not that hard to understand. A Fangio defense is based on having 2 safeties playing deep, at least at the snap, while employing a variety of coverages designed to eliminate plays deep. Fangio most often uses quarters coverage in cover 6, flooding the deep part of the field and only giving up underneath routes. Fangio's defense, led by the man himself, rarely blitzes. Miami has the 4th lowest blitz rate in the league and has great zone coverage, currently ranking 9th in rate of zone coverage plays per game. The defense is also usually accompanied by very light boxes, effectively daring attacks to run the ball. The Bills, who run a similar scheme but have no real ties to Fangio, successfully lured the Cowboys into that trap last week. There were many times early on when Prescott checked into a running play, with varying degrees of success, which impacted the passing attack's ability to get into a rhythm when playing from behind. When it comes to actual personnel, Fangio undoubtedly has the best roster he's ever worked with. Miami is 3rd in pressure rate and 2nd in sacks, even after losing edge rusher Jalen Phillips for the year. That's because Miami also has Bradley Chubb, Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer anchoring that defensive line. In the secondary, Xavier Howard remains a constant presence and has since been joined by perennial All-Pro Jalen Ramsey, who tore his meniscus in training camp. Safety Jevon Holland has continued his rapid rise to stardom, acting as one of the league's best safeties. That said, this defense has been inconsistent throughout the season and, despite all their talent, they rank just 13th in defensive DVOA, although they are 3rd in EPA/game allowed. As has been a common problem for Fangio's defenses this year, the run defense has been especially vulnerable. Miami is 20th in run defense DVOA and 17th in EPA/carry allowed, although they are 6th from last in total run attempts faced. In short, run defense is a weakness that is rarely exploited because their offense usually scores so much that opponents can't afford to run the ball. Sound familiar? The Dolphins aren't a team the Cowboys have much experience facing, but the defensive scheme they'll face is one they have plenty of experience with this season. McCarthy and Prescott should arrive with a good understanding of how to beat Fangio's scheme, even if the players running it are different. That's important, because the Dallas defense will struggle to generate tackles against Miami's red-hot attack. This could easily turn into a shootout, which may be exactly what McCarthy wants, after how he exchanged words with Fangio the last time their teams met. Cowboys aiming to end road woes. Both teams are 10-4, have their offense and defense ranked near the top of the league and have faced lesser competition, sometimes winning by surprising margins. But both have struggled against the best teams in the league. 3 of Miami's 4 losses have come against teams with winning records, while all 10 wins have come against teams that entered at .500 or worse. The Cowboys' only win against a team that currently has a winning record came a fortnight ago in a 33-13 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said he told his players not to think about the playoff standings. Miami currently sits in second place in the AFC and can clinch a playoff spot with a win today, or the narrative that they can't beat good teams. Anything other than worrying about the next opponent, which for us is the Dallas Cowboys, any other narrative that has to do with good teams or seeds for the playoffs or the next 3 games, all those things, McDaniel said on Monday, I've given them permission to tell all members of the media to, with all due respect, F off. With all due respect. Pay attention or not, the Dolphins can change that trend today at home, where they have won 18 of their last 21 games. Tua Tagovailoa has a .792 winning percentage at home, which is second best among active defenders with at least 20 home starts. The Cowboys are 3-4 on the road. Last week, they lost 31-10 at Buffalo, giving up 266 rushing yards and recording just 195 total yards. You can't get to where you want to be by being a .500 team on the road, said Dallas coach Mike McCarthy. You're also not going to play in the playoffs at home with that record. It's definitely a focus for us. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott has averaged 304 passing yards, 2 interceptions and a 74% completion rate at AT&T Stadium. On the road, he averaged 216 yards per game with 5 picks and a 63% completion rate. What did you think of this news? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Dallas Cowboys news. Thank you.